5 o'clock. Usually roll call, Chelsea. Here. Homeless. Nonprofit. Leslie. Here. Korea. Hope one week. Yeah, that's in the summer. Oh, sorry, thank you. You go here and then you do presentation class and you do the log and then you buy. Because you do them. Which webinars, which down on the garden on the door on. Tagal education o Judemona, which others in Canada. Kakana in the group, the days back in the ACI, the days back in the days back in the ACI. What's the community?
Mission and vision. The mission is to prepare each student for college with an enhanced knowledge of the Ojibwe language, culture, leadership, and environmental stewardship. Vision at Endazhi-Nitaawiging, the vision is to create confident leaders grounded in their true inherent identities and to ensure that they are academically, socially, and spiritually prepared to positively change the community and world.
Item 6, agenda approval, motion to approve the working board meeting for August 22nd, 2025.
I'll say.
So welcome to the meeting of the school board here in Endazhi-Nitaawiging. We are really pleased that we have shown interest in our school affairs by attending this meeting. The school board and all public participation at this meeting, and at the same time have the responsibility to conduct its business in the orderly fashion. Will provide the audience with an opportunity to questions. The request that before you speak, you note your name. Each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes unless time limits waived by the majority of the board members present. At the public meeting of the board, no person shall orally initiate policies are confined to the individual employee, the district, or tally except the material. All such charges are present to the board directly. Shall be referred to executive director of Endazhi through the housing during the investigation and report. We would also like to remind that the public that the school board is not allowed to comment on their concerns. If there is no question, we'll open the public comment section of the board meeting. Anybody have any questions? Any comments? The public participation. No comments, no questions, so we'll be moving into the business. A review and discussion of the August 22nd, 2025, regular board meeting. Agenda. This time, regular board meeting review and facilities to look into state and to the anti-person time. Otherwise, I'd say the recommendation. It's the kind of we can.
I don't have to read one. So I have to forget everything.
I would just forget it.
Okay, yeah. I can look up too long. Okay. No, I typed it correctly. I just wasn't thinking for some reason. Yeah, it was on staff and I just double checked it. Yeah. Yep, and that's what I put last time, and it was like, nope, can't connect.
Your kids are gonna figure it out.
Oh, they'll figure it out in no time. See, if the secure can't connect to this network, and then I try again.
Have you heard?
Sure, it just keeps pooping me out of my myself.
So Amy, I'm gonna find out this.
Okay.
Amy, not, you don't put example with these ones, but so you didn't have, well, you guys had a finance, so if you're close to me, you don't want to. No, I'm not here, so there's the man.
Okay.
Thank you, Rochelle.
And
You went to the shop, yeah?
everybody else coming at 5:30.
I didn't like, yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay. All right. As long as it'll take.
what's the thing? This is the unmade valuation, this is the. But it was on the 12th. There was a forum, but there was only two people that scored. Everything they were doing.
That went wrong? I just opened it. Nope.
Or I don't care, I mean,
I heard it pick up and now it's kind of dying down again. It's like.
Are they really going to, renovate that modular building?
So the plan for the modular building is with, so we got the capital projects grant, which is a state grant, it's reimbursement based. And a lot of it is project based. We have to pay up front so we can pick out the work, get people in here. So the space in the modular, we're looking at 3 spaces. One of them is gonna be expanding our alternative learning in a sense, but it's like in school suspension. So instead of having our kids cram in our behavior intervention space, we're gonna expand and remodel, renovate 3 of those classroom spaces. One of those will be used for that slash community use. So in the grant, you're also purchasing some Chromebooks, tablets. So some of those tablets will go over there to help with our students, but also community space for any community members that don't have access to the internet or have access to technology. So we're building out a plan to support that initiative. But it's a small amount, so it's only to do like repair the ceilings, repair the carpets, change the locks, do the doors,
So say
seal the windows.
Mhm.
And then after school programming,
Mhm.
so space.
Say we did all this, right? Because they'll approve that, right? And then if each month we get reimbursed with those grants, what happens to the, when we get reimbursed, then?
Yep.
Is that just going to our, percentage that we kind of reach? Oh, but like, I don't think so.
Yeah, they'll go into our general operating expenses, so that's why we should be listed under general operating. Or it'll just go back into our general operating goals. Where we need, so Amy will work on.
So we're just gonna
Finding out
utilize this as like a bucket.
So okay, so third party billing, okay, so. We have a partnership when we have well. We partner with IM Incorporated and they are a mental health. Company organization, so they developed a contract with the tribe. So they actually have a contract with the tribe and we work with the tribe in year 1 to develop as a site. For mental health, behavioral health. So we went through the process, we are approved as a site. So our people can receive services, whether it's staff or students, in our case it's students. Then we can bill at the IHS rate. So the IHS rate this year, and it might have gone up, I think it's around $7.50 per encounter. So our contractor per encounter, and an encounter is 15 minutes or more. And our contractors, I am incorporated, they have an agreement with, contract with the tribe where their rate to bill is $300 an. So between the 750 and 300. 750 minus 3. Okay, yeah, so that amount goes into our sub account. So that's our revenue within, well, it's a tribe's revenue. Because we have a working partnership with them, within a sub code, it's in a sub account within the tribe. So that builds up every month. And that can go back into a donation to the school, as long as it's for health, wellness, and education. Yep. And so that's kind of everything we do. That's like our full operations, including operating costs, including our schoolyard, and just everything we do. So in the second
well, in the big packet where it's a third party building. That's the process we have to fill out to present to council to request the money. So a lot of our goals align with what third party building that comes straight from the Department of Health and Human Services require. So there's accountability on the tribe's part to make sure that the funding is spent in those encompassing areas. And so we have to submit the form, we have to submit how we're gonna use some funds. And prior to any submission, we have to fill out the form, and it now has to go through board for approval for the request, just for transparency. In the very beginning, it was, we would just send, pedestal would just send it over to Bernal, or to Joe Plummer, the attorney. We look at it. If there's any revisions or they're gonna lie, we work together to make revisions, and it goes to treasurer, and then it goes to council. But now we have a new process where the board has to approve it. Just so everybody's on the same page, everybody knows where the funding is going, and how it's set up. And so, so this is a new process to request the funding. As of, I haven't got an updated amount from Bernal yet, but, Caleb, the one that works closely with her, actually handles our sub account and our new market tax they were talking about before. It's a little different. All gave the paying bills. But he had mentioned just the last time he was in there, we were at 700,000 in our sub account. So we haven't requested funding from third party buildings in February. So it's kind of just been in committee. We do want to make sure there's a little in there because we do pay bills to the site. I think that's our macro, which is our print team, and some of our facilities also in partnership with the Tom. So I think there is that meeting over. Maybe because they do be doing some of their stuff. Really do a little bit. And then a little cushion to always have it. So we are requesting, the hope is that we are approved for this amount is large. But it is needed so that we can continue our after school programming grant, that's reimbursement based, and our most important capital project. Because we need those funds there, and they're large funds to get these funds, especially with the basketball. So we have to pay for
So, on the budget, the $405,000. Where
it's broken down on that goes to the. So what I did was I just put in the grant, kind of a line items. So after school programming grant is a large grant, it's about 274,000 a year, and it's like 500 and I do print out the actual numbers, 588,000 over 3 years. We're going into year 2 but we're only requesting a monthly reimbursement right now, just so that we can kind of get it. But now that I'm thinking through it, I should have been a little bit more into working years. So that's kind of silly. But summer's over, so now we're going to after school. Maybe in a few months, as we get into winter, so start visiting with our staff, that's gonna help. See with their after school programming to kind of get both orders.
So after school programming, what are you offering?
Yeah, that's a good question. We did a survey last year, and we got some good ideas from parents, staff, and students. And so last year we did 2. We did singing and hand drumming and singing would follow. And so we've seen that. We've seen basketball. We've seen sewing, eating. So just having different community as our school, our Endazhi community. And so this year we're going to kick it off. Chelsea's actually helping with the after school programming grant this year to help launch and get things going. We had a hard time launching last year. So I think we're in a good place to really kick off with good programming, but we do have data from last year from parents. This campus is really big office start. So
Yeah.
different things, yeah, different ideas.
So maybe when you read these, you can put some of the stuff about the parents. If what the parents are requesting,
Okay.
or what the parents would like to see. Because not a lot of them are speaking the helpful part of it, so we have to. Kind of broaden it a little bit and see what the parents want. There's not a lot of them, I mean, even though, yeah, they say we do, but when the actual piece comes to play. And they kind of, I don't know if it's the fear of actually coming from. You know, fear of what they want to learn.
Yeah, they're just, a lot of our kids are shy still, and, yeah, but. We see a lot of leadership, I feel like, in our students over the years,
Good.
so, yeah.
So the after school programming, is it just for students or is it geared towards family? Is it what?
Yep, students, it'll be for our students, although we do have family nights, it helps support some of our family nights, you know, like foods or whatever, we need, like, Indigenous foods, I know is in there. We did do some Indigenous foods last year, but that's kind of the only family piece. We're looking at, we had a good turnout with our sewing camp with, some of our elders, our grandmas, not so much our students. We had a lot of grandmas come in and they just love the space to come sew. So, and a lot of them were, the grandmas are in terms of our students. So we're thinking this year that we could like just open it up and have like a sewing camp or sewing space for our elders or community just to sew, have coffee, you know. So kind of thinking more on the community base. We did when on our meeting, in my meeting with the after school programming program officer Allison, I mentioned to her like some of our numbers, well, our numbers were really low for participants this summer, especially the sewing. Basketball, I think you had 9 students show up that were Dutchy students. So we said, well, can we expand this to community? Oh, we did get out in the community. So we ended up with like 30 kids at the basketball campus. So to answer your question, yeah, that's something we are able to open up. I think the after school programming will be just for our students, but we're not limited to just that. We want more funding, we can stand out to like community nights, not just family nights. So that's a work in progress. We learned a lot this first year. On our pitfalls and how we can improve and what's allowable. And so we have some really good support. Chelsea will start going to a lot of those meetings and working sessions where a lot of this information and these questions, because we're so unique to some of the other grantees that we can do a little bit more, some more flexibility to what we do.
The reason I mentioned that because you want to have more need from everybody, not just community peers.
Yeah.
So if people that are coming from the community, they're saying, what about you have this or whatever that?
Yeah, in the slideshow I have community partnerships, so trying to find people in the community that are going to come in to help with them, but also inviting, you know, people that want to go instead of for the possible, but I'm huge fan of community engagement. Community partners.
So you have to let me know when you have your first people.
Yeah, the slideshow for all staff is next week, so then they'll get to know that they can have some autonomy and choose, you know, where they feel most comfortable reading, and then I can set it up. That post pay on there too, because that last year that was integrator, we didn't really know, so but this time we had teacher, certified teacher pay, support pay on and someone knowledgeable in that, so that I would teach it from like help teach something they don't know, because they just want to help this, you know, like, I don't know how to make snow trees, right, but that we go over those sections, right, but then have someone come in and teach the story. What? Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
That they can give when we Mandu Dikran, they
Because then they do the star stories too, right? And she wrote the books. Should we?
It's 5:38, yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, it's probably adjourned.
Working section and.
Skip the chat list.
I guess.
Alright, we're moving on. All we gotta do is.
Okay. We'll adjourn the working session at 5:38. And that's most, well, almost. I'm getting all emotional. Our motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:38.
I will second.
All in favor of adjourning the working session at 5:38? Yeah,
Aye.
so I'd like to call the Endazhi board meeting to order at 5:39. All in favor?
Aye. Well, not the roll call, no. Thought we were on the agenda.
Alright.
That too. All right, so just roll call and then agenda.
Kelsey? Are you going to call?
Might as well, it's official.
Kelsey? Lawrence? Bianca? Leslie? Here.
So we can just move fast for some next year, right, because we're gonna do that in the public comment.
Yep.
After I go home, people.
So can I have a motion to approve the working agreement?
No, it's.
No, she's fixing the papers, I think.
Oh, it's all there.
Yeah, this was the regular.
That's the working one, okay.
Is she excused? I have. Okay, so I'm excused for now then. I would put.
So we need a motion to approve the agenda for the regular board meeting of August 22nd, 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor, Is there anybody in public for public comment? Darlene? Okay. Okay. So, moving to item 3, motion to approve the regular board meeting of July 16th. All in favor?
Aye.
I would type it in first and then you do the regular.
I can't keep up on computer.
No, I do it.
Motion passed. Go to the regular board meeting in July 16, 2025. So moving on to number 4, reports, the financial report.
Amy is not gonna be able to join today, so I'll kind of go over, which we to register physically and competitive. So we had, the finance committee meeting on the 18th. So we kind of went over the financials for July. So she does a summary page. And then on that summary page, one of the suggestions was to number the different pages of documents in the financial packet, so that we can go from, so we can really know which.
Kind of go through,
Yeah, so Amy, she did that, yes, and going forward, she'll do that, so it makes it easier for us to all learn together and understand kind of the expenses and where we are. So that's really helpful, if we're able to do that. But we came out pretty good in our spending. So number 4, the budget summary, it talks about our revenues and then our expenses. So the revenues we brought in was 2,820,550. And the expenses were 2,821,879. So we are about 100.5% of our budget. So right on track. We're doing really, really well. We did talk about in the finance committee about working towards that 20%. What's it called? 20%. Fund balance. Fund balance. So that's the goal for Endazhi is to work towards that 20%. It's gonna take a little while, but we're working hard, and I think with some of the grants coming in and being conservative in our spending and budgeting, and then also our donations that third party doing, we can start working to this end. We'll be on track to meet that. We have authorized our renewal coming up next year, so we have some time to work on our growth. Really, let's get to our where we need to be. So I'll talk a little bit about that in my report, but yeah, so let's see. So it breaks down in number 5, the revenues. It breaks it down even more. It shows you the state revenues coming in, the federal revenues, grant and local revenues, and then expenditures, what went out, what we spent, and then where we are this month. And then the first sheet, number 1, is our cash on hand and our liabilities. So it kind of shows you where our amounts are at, accounts receivable, what we got from MVP, and then our liabilities on the second part. What is budgeted, but what we still have to pay out. So those are our liabilities. And then our fund balance, the beginning, and then where we are. Oh, number 3, checks and wires. It just breaks down where all of the spending, all the bills are getting paid. It breaks down who it went to, which vendor. And I know, so it shows, the date and the amount. A lot of July, a lot of these are after school program spending, and then just our regular bills outside of payroll salary. Our benefits one. Internal revenue, which would be timing.
So, I had a question first. Alex, I thought he's on track and.
No, Alex Commit is continued. Continued as a curriculum developer.
Okay, so.
So every year, well, technically, all the contracts do end. And then,
Could I just?
yeah,
The
for some new,
contract ended as of June 30th. He had his payroll extended to the fund for pay periods out there, summer of first. So if there was a payment to him, that was his contract from last year that he had extended to this summer. He is receiving a new contract, and you can tell him what he will be getting. It's it's a different contract, but if he is going to be.
yep, he's gonna be our Ojibwe instructor, slash curriculum developer. And I have that also in my report. I attached a classroom assignment to staff assignment. I'm gonna look at it.
Chinese, so, you really want to go harder. And, I think some of our classes, we feel like they're not getting, and, so he's gonna provide that online. And I'm gonna talking about maybe Marcus, so you can be in the classroom, but he needs to use more full online. And having Marcus is kind of like a mediator, like that's our guy like there, stuff like that regular. But it's an online to all takes a revolving class and that helps. That's what teachers have to say. That's all the part too, because we already know how online works. Keeping the attention of kids and they're battling at it. Basically, they're originally classes.
He's gonna be remote teaching, and then he's part of our up and growing, curriculum development team. I'll talk a little bit about one of the new stuff.
Gotta give Rochelle credit on that. Useful in that class. There's the curriculum, that curriculum development, that's been like a rolling role. He's been creating for the teachers, making them available. It's good.
So,
More out of that.
also with Ojibwe language is so complex, and it's just, and when you talk about scope and sequence, and you talk about language learning, and he has a master's in linguistics, so linguistically, it's just as complicated, and breaking it out and really into a scope and mapping takes a lot of time. And if you're looking at grade level, within the grade level takes a lot of time, because there's so much activities on. Like PTAs and all of that fun stuff that we don't really want to dive into. A lot of our mission and vision is immersive style. So a lot of it is being exposed and immersed into it. And so we had to become innovative and say, well, how can we get more language to, especially our upper grades? We heard a lot of that last year. A lot of our upper grades that aren't immersion based, like our K1, weren't getting much Ojibwe. Some of our teachers weren't proficient speakers, they were getting it in class. We do have a lot of teachers that are learning, novice. So we're putting a lot of effort into them learning the language, so that they can turn around and help teach it to the students. We're working on that universal expectation also. So again, we're growing in year 3, we're taking a lot of 1, 2, here's 1, 2, and 3, now we're in 4 now. Kind of where we are assessing, evaluating, how can we improve and do better, and who can we utilize to do that? So, thinking outside the box, where we sit, and really trying to make it work. And Alex fits outside the box, at this time, and I think you can utilize it in a lot of different ways, not just go to like over in Zoom, but curriculum developing, modifying the current curriculum, and teaching it.
I also have this vision of using it and not knowing that and making them just like a garden, saying these things to them, giving them as much as the teachers were able to, and you're able to, and letting them hear it and use it. And with the songs, the same thing. But I feel like the district has a different vision where they want just the college at BTA, BTI. It really changes the dynamic of how the language works. Because then you're trying to do an algebra problem, put it on that front ending and put it on the back ending. And that really it's really confusing to learn versus I know when I go to Prima, I hear people just use it, and it's on you to figure out. It's more of a immersed side.
We'll be recruiting more grandmas and grandpas.
Yeah. I don't wanna get too into that standardization, because
Right.
that's really gonna affect our future language speakers. I do that. And they also, oh, another thing too, when I was a little, this isn't that much relevant, but I do remember elders, you guys learn that they throw it at kids like a heavy weight, get kids to run away. Versus they can create a garden, just make it accessible. So now we have like these little second graders that they almost fight each other. I want to do the prayer. I'll do the prayer.
So
And then
cool,
they get up, they go through it. Really cool.
And it's cool because they don't know it, but they have 5 come up and they all go to each other. And then they jump. And then they remember, and then they.
Yeah. You want to grow, find ways to grow that in the songs.
But finances, yeah, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the more they hear it, the more they're gonna be able to, like, they already have it here, and they just need to.
That's that teeter totter, but not standardized. There. That's. Yeah, that could be an ongoing debate all day, though.
Well, and that's why I like some of the data. Capturing that. The language assessment, how you capture that novice, proficient, medium, whatever. So they do have second language tools and assessment, engage those growth and growing. And but with Ojibwe and the way we want to do it is different. So it's taking us a while to come up with a rubric that fits us and how to capture that data, and then to be where we are and to do. So all of our kids are growing in the language.
Maybe that's something Alex could.
Yeah, and he's proficient, so he had a hard time because he's like, well. Can you find that? Yeah. I was just so.
It's pretty nice if you get in the room. See how the teachers.
I'll say even for teachers and parents, because there's a Nico. You got similar to like home to now sleeping and plus Emily kind of knew some, but she's super accelerating. She said she knew some. Kinsey, another one. These are young adults that are going, taking it up. This is fast. Being exposed to it. And so expanding on that to children. Go along with this.
Oh, yeah, so if, just looking at the, checks and bills being paid, that's on number 3. So you can just see that breakdown and everything going now. And again, we've recruited a lot of our staff, so you see staff in here also, and that's our summer programming there on site. A little bit.
Let's see, we had a pretty. I don't even know how to sum the summer up into a word, so is that gonna touch it? But when I find that word, I'll let you know. We got to, so we got back and we went to finally see Sylvia's family, and it's pretty crazy because her family took on the tribal council and the tug of war, and we're all over the internet and whatnot. But I got back and I gave the council a good presentation about what we've been doing. We've been kind of put together summer camps, from a fishing camp to yoga. I feel like we need more. I get on the radio and we still don't have the numbers. We put things on the radio, so finding ways to get more numbers out there. But we did have yoga. We had women's sewing, women outfit making, sewing. We had men's outfit making, sewing. And I was telling them about summer camps that we're doing, and then more recruitment, more planning on recruitment for events. So just with dealing with our inside stuff, we didn't really get to focus on our outside stuff this summer. So I don't want to call the summer a wash, but just we learned a lot from how to stay focused on the outside. So I gave that to council and I let them know where we're at and our numbers and our employees that we're changing. And, we got a good one coming. There's a guy coming to town that's gonna teach, this is my plan. Alphonse Obey, Chelsea knows him a little bit. But he's gonna do like a sweat lodge and then he's also gonna do some, land-based learning teaching. And so this year too, a big thing of what we want to get into is Mondays dedicated to land-based and how we're gonna make that work. Is gonna be a fun learning experience, but Mondays will be, because we I remember at one point, brother Zach had said, you know, how come we have this big building and we're gonna teach the kids about our culture? And he's exactly right. I see this building as a triage to connect back to the land. We do want to become a land, because that's what we enunciate in our mission, is to become a land-based learning school, connecting back to Maple Surrey, Serpent, Sugar Bush, all that good stuff, Sugar Bush and wild rice and whatnot. But I feel like this building, in a sense, could be a triage to get to that point where we're taking our kids out, because Darwin has been good with our kids. Donovan is another good one that goes out, Hudson, and to getting the kids connected with and then Josh Jones, another third one, and DNR. So we open that door with DNR and creating a relationship there. And are we in the MOU with them or?
No, we're just partnering with them.
Okay, it's partnering with DNR and they want to help us and they're helping us to. Yeah, I don't know, we got this pontoon money set aside to get a pontoon. We also have different things that they want to help with future wise, getting DNR collaborating with the future of school. Like whether it's planting trees, whether it's knowing the trees and knowing the fish, I think that's the overall vision of the school, is knowing all your relatives, all the plant life, all of the animal life, all of the stars. And how do we get to that part? But DNR would be good for that land use. And Alphonse will be here the 27th and 28th, and you can expand on what we're doing those days a little bit more. But I'm just looking forward to him and contacting this guy and hyping him up, and I hope he lives up to the hype. He was pretty good at the event we met him at. And then just getting the staff back is been a blessing. He's dusting out, everybody looks different. You know, plug back into each other or something. Yeah. And we got some new faces. So ready to start the next chapter. But yeah, so I feel like the next tribal council meeting, I should probably be a little more ready, but I did a good presentation. It was a short speed though. But that's where I'm at. Oh yeah, I can't forget the let me have Paul Sylvia and the 7 on the school learning that they started. You guys think it started, they said there's gonna be a garden, there's already a playground. And it's also based off that land-based learning. I can't forget about that part.
Yeah. So my attachment is here, I'll just walk down through it. So kindergarten roundup we had on our time. Talk about it.
Thanks for that.
Put that in the minutes.
Why that hasn't bothered me for a while.
Yeah. 10, okay, so we have 10 currently enrolled kindergartners in our kindergartners, and so we have 5 slots available, so we have to work on our recruitment, so we have a full kindergarten class. Our current enrollment numbers at 108. So we have 10 in kindergarten, first grade is full at 16, second grade is full at 15, third grade is full at 14, fourth grade is full at 16. Fifth grade, we have 5 spots available. 6, we have 14 students, so 1 spot available. We're gonna try to cap it at 15. You see a couple of 16 in there only because those guys are following their class, and that's been really good. And then 7th and 8th, they're only at 13, a combination of the two. So could take a couple more. to 15 to 17, I think is what we were talking about, not too much. As we are taking on 8th grade and we have a new teacher, George Spears. Well, he's not new, but he's going to middle school now. So it's more requirements. Still working on building that. So we don't want too large of a class. I think we're going to cap that at about 15, 17, between 25. We did lose a lot of our older students. They are moving out. Some are going to go for sports. Some want to go with their friends. So some want to just go off. Our 2 are going off. They want to try out Trek North because they're still beats my stuff. So yeah. Number 3, the annual report. I think last meeting we reported that was due August 15th. We were incorrect. It is actually due November 1st to appraisers. That's when we need to get all of our annual reports in and academic data from last year. So we're working on that. Our goal is to present that at the September regular board meeting for approval. I think that's what we'll have that. 4 staff have been assigned to for the school year, and that's one of the pages in there breaks down which staff is going to teach where and who we have. So on number 11 of my report, talks about new staff joining our Endazhi family. We have Donovan May. He will be our 6th grade teacher. Jola Webb is our curriculum instruction specialist. And Ramona Victor, our former 6th, 7th grade teacher, will come on to help as a teacher mentor. Yep, and then anytime I have to step out and do travel or engagements, I am part of the Growing Together Fellowship with my partner Nielsen, so I do have to do work travel. There's other grant requirements. I have to go off and stuff. So Ramona will come and sub as a licensed principal. So super excited, more excited that she's on board to help our teachers, supports our teachers. So she'll be the teacher mentor to come in and help our teachers. Their work also, along with Jola Webb. Jola Webb is a former principal at the Mission. So we were visiting with her for like, I don't know how many times last year and kind of put out our recruitment tactics. She'll be joining our team this year.
She's got reaching out.
Yeah, so she's awesome. She has certifications in instructional coaching, mentorship. She has knowledge around curriculum development. She's worked with Bridges, our current curriculum. We purchased Wonders, and so she has extensive experience, and we're super excited. She'll be part of help lead our curriculum development team. So she'll be working with the Bludge, Ramona, and so
Too, she did her sister reports for it. Helping.
even language.
Columbia summer right there. Summer bar.
Somewhere in
Helps.
So, yeah,
So that was a big plus.
really, really excited about providing supports to our teachers and leaving that first and everything. And then the support for book watch with the curriculum development. So we really aligning it so we can, the goal is for that to be transcribed into a digitized to Wonders, Bridges, they're all mainstream curriculum. So our goal is to indigenize, and we want to make sure we follow that mission. So that breaks down our staff, and that breaks down where we are.
Potentially something named up there. I put that on our website, and we're interviewing. They go to Canada now. Johnson. No relation.
No relation. No, her mom and I would love her.
Yeah,
Yep,
she's
so
a pretty efficient speaker. Do a 2-day program with like senior so exciting insights and things.
so you see in 2nd grade, it says to be determined. So that's where we'll be interviewed. And that'll be the current Zach school class. So that would to be able to provide supports in Ojibwe knowledge. Classroom management. Super excited. Hopefully Janelle's ready to join the team. We'll find out.
She's Elton, Ojibwe, instructor with Ojibwe. She's like,
And then, oh yeah, Chinudin. So Chinudin, George students, he's gonna take that 7th, so we have, a schedule built out to provide his supports in there, as a paraprofessional, so Chelsea will help him in there, and we're hoping to recruit another support. Let's see, $20 an hour.
Really? He's, trying to move from B and B.
Obaniti?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'll be in.
Oh, BNT, I'm like.
Yeah. Oh, big thing to come out.
Oh, okay.
But he's. Learning something.
Hopefully we'll be open to that position once we visit it. Yep, send them on over. Number 5, I talked about the curriculum we purchased, started off with a self-paced learning. They were pretty swamped in having a facilitator in the time crunch. 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours for one session. We just got back and pretty swamped up there. Got to cut that off. There any in here from me? The professional development calendar for the week coming back. So next week we have our Indigenous literacy. So our partners will be coming out for 3 days to help provide that support with Russian to push out our Indigenous lit. And that works side by side with our reading wonders. So if they have really experienced, yeah, so let's see, back to school. So yeah, I forgot to put that off. I think that's you guys. We are transitioning our student information systems to from Synergy to GMC. Just, something to be aware of. We think this might be one of the reasons why some parents weren't getting notifications, as we are moving all of our information from Synergy to GMC. I don't know if that's a reason, but a lot of our parents say, hey, is it on me? No,
No,
I
he's like pushing the button.
Oh.
Make it forward go off.
I thought I was on.
Let's see, Nate talked about our summer programming, so kind of this did. We are still recruiting. Again, I talked about enrollment. We'll leave that open. It'll always be open throughout the year. If we're capped at any grades, we just cannot take. And it'll come time for a new enrollment, they'll have to reapply. So we talked about new staff. Discrepancy update.
Your enrollment pretty well studied throughout the year though.
Yeah, our youngers especially. When we get up to our uppers, I think we lost a couple 4th graders last year, but they moved to Mankato. We lost one little guy last year. He's going through the system. He's family a little bit. And then I think we're pretty steady all year round. Yeah, so once we get them, they're kind of here.
A lot of conversations, I had a lot of conversation. And that their excuse all the time is you can't teach it because you're here. Well, we have strong attendance. We got strong attendance, but there is parties kind of out of faculty. That might be the plus conversation.
So a lot of unforeseen, or beyond their students' control. Either mom doesn't have class or something happened in the night time.
Really enough.
Yeah, mom doesn't go to work till 11. Wasaya was that?
Yeah.
All in kindergarten, 2 seconds.
no, and they're probably gonna have to go to the house if it's mandated by the state and walk back and your system, system, talk about. So, I mean, if they're gonna get, we're doing everything we can to help parents, if their kids here, so they'll get on to be my kids, like, what you get 3 days, you adjustments, 3 days, 5 days. The same as what other school stuff to do, but we're a lot more gentle with it. We want reminders and we want to be great, so we're gonna try to be as helpful as we can be.
And identifying the staff person to really provide that correspondence with parents, hey, what's going on? So, but yeah, pretty consistent, when they're here, they usually stay.
There was set aside.
Yeah.
Centers in on, making sure they're here. It was funny, how did you do it? Either hire somebody or to. put it on themselves.
Dan Jorgensen is gonna help with that. He's gonna identify.
Okay.
So we received, $12,000 for the year, the money went to red light and red light. Some of that had to be spirit and parcel, 12,000 for the year, so we're doing 6,000 per semester. And then we're doing quarterly, 3,000 of that will go towards staff. Yeah, 6,000. And then, the rest of it will be, tenants, so we have. For the
I know off the top of my head, there's one guy that never missed one day.
Yeah.
Not one day. Yeah, like there's.
She get a prize for that.
You know what I mean? Right? So, yeah, so again, we're growing. We took a look at, our pitfalls the last 3 years, last year, how to improve. So it was a huge help in assisting that and just coming together, teachers, and staff and just community grow. Those markers, which leads to the discrepancy letter. And kind of a breakdown, the timeline for required actions. This is part of our efficiency letter we got from authorizers, and they broke down for us kind of what we need to work on and when we need to get that to them. So we've been working hard to just kind of make sure we're in compliance, make sure we submit everything on time, identify those staff members that are going to be helping. So we're looking at August 31st. It looks like we have about a good handful of things we have to submit. We got everything done for July 31st. A lot of these on here are the policies, which our policy committee met on. That's in the agenda. So those are all listed in there. Once approval, make sure authorizers know. Our finance firm, Amy, is working on internal controls, the financial piece, UFAR's deadline on reporting, which is our financial piece, for training needs. So we're working on developing that. A lot of you already did your training, making sure we get that reported. And then assessment tools and data collection. So we're working on that and a plan. Measure 1.1 and 1.2, which is our wellness and our Ojibwe language. So this kind of for your reference, where we need to be at, what's required by authorizer as part of that improvement plan.
So being
just
on the
huge.
finance committee, we take a look at the corrective action.
And then the last part I included was just our finance committee meeting schedule. So it's a requirement now by statute for finance committee meetings to take place every month. I just included that schedule. It's open to the public. Did it put the policy one into the. Those are all those.
Continue on. Yeah.
But it's right here.
Yeah, we get
Sorry.
one
Oh,
and then the rest of them are
I'm
like.
push.
The finance.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest discrepancies on the finance that are you think that is that the finance committee even before, and then also there was 13 months for the board deferred financial testimony, but they didn't vote on. And it passed that the financials have to be approved by. Right. So those are two of the main financials that we want to keep ready for.
That's the rundown. So, or if we're to, spin back, so, it's very important.
Yeah.
There's north sign, that's like a front of the hill guys, a building. They warranty them. There's multiple things that are going on, but there's a cracked window, that's getting worse. There's, HVAC systems that are kind of breaking down top, with a lot of things that, you got, maybe he came through with this here, so that Since then, so he told that he has symbolic vision. He was the big dog of the company, so. And, yeah, then just some of the stuff, appliances and locks on front, there was a chain. There's companies that they can reach, like this is like, oh, they'll try to reach out.
Right.
Yeah, and they don't take it seriously sometimes, but like the company calls that I hired you in the first place, yeah, so. I feel like we'll keep you guys updated on what if this stuff does. There's a lot of things. Our son, his name is Chris Otto.
Brian, if you used to try to hold up, Brian can do different organ children. He's taking this and maybe sending this.
Number 10, I skipped right over, sorry guys. Ribbon cutting ceremony for our schoolyard. We're planning for October. We don't have a date yet. But we do want to do a ribbon cutting. This is our first phase out in the front. So we're waiting for some ropes and then some plants. And then we'll build out the front entrance with some signage and plants and then some plants, trees around. Then phase 2 is our community pigeon. So we do want to do ribbon cutting. In October, I have a meeting next week with our schoolyard grantee trust for public lands. But yeah, this part's pretty much done.
Is there an outdoor vision?
Huh?
Is there an outdoor oven?
I think so. I think it was on the wish list. I don't see the play one. Yeah. So they just laid the concrete slab. So. It's
None? Not impact. Report with impact? No? Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna come in again in September.
So you see the. Every year we have moments. Branding. That's been. Oh, really?
Yeah, she found her out and she's super excited and she had to call blessed and put it up there for her. Yeah. Yeah, last year she found those. She was super. Yeah. It was right around the end of the year too. They were changing all of them.
Oh. Yeah. Just a week and a half left. Contingency. Right to now, like the candidate, we're gonna try to recruit students.
Are we doing today in a recession? Are we in a recession? Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, what?
Red Lake?
I've been on the road and okay. I've been in a car for like 12 hours. Okay, forgive me if my brain was a little fried. Oh yeah, I was in Whitehead because I forgot about the board meeting. And I went to Whitehead to go get some fried bread for my auntie Tammy and or some fried bread mix, so I can make some fried bread. Yeah, she makes the dough. Yeah.
Why don't I show you the file?
And $25 a bag, so I bought 2 bags of it, and it's gonna carry me for a while.
Then have to use it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's what I went to Whitehead for this morning. I've been on the road since like 8 this morning because I went to Whitehead to go get fried bread, and then Rochelle texted me. She's like, "I'll see you at 5," and I was like, "Shh." Oh no, I did, and I just like I got up and I took off. I went to my auntie, grabbed the fried bread. I gave her a $10 tip because I came a day earlier. I was gonna pick this. Yeah, so I flew back right away and well, I got my fried bread secured, so I'm gonna make that hopefully Sunday and do some squaw dogs in there too.
Very good though.
That's what Nick's getting mad at. me.
Yeah,
He's like, they're a fried bread dog.
Somebody else called me all on that. I'm like, oh yeah, what are you eating?
I come from Whiters, we all call them squaw dog, okay?
They changed.
That's all the white, and let them know.
Yeah.
Changed it to S thing.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we have someone in Whiter named Squaw, so I just.
Gavel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, Sylvia, for your report. We're moving on to the APAC community report.
This is the meetings beginning.
Yeah,
Oh,
so no report yet.
My bad.
Apparently.
Okay, moving on to new business. Item A, motion to approve July 2025 financials. Chelsea makes the motion. Owens, second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Passed. All right, moving to business 5B, motion to approve the updated mandated policies.
This big packet.
That must be this one, yeah, okay. So, we run this motion, first, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta open it first.
A motion to approve the updated mandated policies, 101, 414, 416, 425, 501, 503, 515, 516, 565, 521, 530, 620, 621, 624, 703, 77, and 806.
One motion.
I didn't like the that's my LCD. No, hold on, this shows. Oh, confused.
Yeah, now I gotta open.
Previous question on the policy.
So the charter school is a state public school. Yep. And so we need to follow all the state mandated. And so what happens is, I think Sylvia put in your packet and we approved all of them. And I gave you a list from the Minnesota School Board Association, all the charter mandated policies and all the legal requirements that we've had. And after that, there's a recommendations. In March, the board, I brought in front of the board all of the mandated policies and those were all approved in March. 101 was approved March 18th. And so then the legislature meets every year from January through June, and once the legislature ends, the Minnesota School Boards Association will pick all the legal changes to any of the policies, and they rewrite those for us. And so what we do is we just adopt those updated policies. So the ones that are listed on there are the policies we've already adopted that are updated, that have changes to this by law. So the rest of the policies and the rest of the agenda are new policies, but the ones that you have right now are already adopted by the board. And what we're asking the board to do is to approve the legal updates to the already adopted.
Policy committee.
Yeah, we met with it every single one of these and we updated the states. And we figured that some of them have language change and we look at include all of it in the meeting and that has its own agenda.
If you want to, Minnesota School Boards Association, they write the changes to the policies, and they also will provide you with a red line copy. Some of the policies only have a technical change like adopted 25. or like that. Then there are some that have some substantive, changes, sorry. Substantive.
Substantial.
Yeah, substantial.
Substantial.
And so, you keep those in front of the board, and if you want to see those, we can, we have a file folder of those, if you want to see what the changes are. What those policies are and what the changes are, we can. We'll see the red line and what would change.
So there's a big policies are still.
It's a really great thing that the Minnesota State Legislation. And they also go down and lobby on behalf of educators to legislation. So, you know, trying to, they lobby on behalf of teachers and help teachers, it's easier to have those licensure and.
We're in discussion.
So motion to approve. Motion by Leslie, second by Chelsea. So all in favor of adopting or approving the adopted amended policy as following. All in favor say aye. Mhm.
Some of those are the ones that we have to get for operation, the other legal requirement that are out there, that these are legal adopted policies, not on the website. Some are on there, and I let Tech know, I said, just hang out, I'm putting those up there, just for a minute. Adopt on the updated one, so within the week, all the new updated ones will be on the website. It's really put them in the file.
August 31st.
I really like that you got a calendar. What?
So moving on to five C. Motion to approve the credit card policy as presented. So is it already ready?
Yeah, we can't discuss anything in motion.
Okay, motion to approve credit card policy as presented.
Motion.
Any discussion?
The credit card policy is mandated by our authorizer. We did not have one. I looked all over for other schools and charter schools to have credit card policy. And wasn't able to really find anything on the website and stuff, but it is in the requirement from our website. So I went all over the set of public schools and I found, I recently upgraded one from Whitefield, in June of 25. So I took what they had, tweaked it to fit our school. And what you'll see on there is you'll see credit card, debit card. We currently do not have a credit card. We do have a debit card, but as like Sylvia was talking earlier, we're moving towards credit and having a credit card. Most schools don't have a debit card. We have a debit card through the bank because we were so new that we weren't able to establish any credit. So now our finances. And then really what that says is that policy is just really the head of school is going to be the ones that have that, and nobody's going to be issued with that instead. The credit card, the debit card we have is the really guaranteed side at the head of school.
This works.
Do we have a chief financial officer?
Oh. Because that's what it says here, approval from head of school or the district's chief financial officer.
So school management services is our financial, entity, board approved entity. And, they have provided us with a business manager and a payroll clerk. And then, so they are our chief financial entity, but they won't have any organization, it's only our head of school.
Give a little history. We started this, you know, the state started sending us checks from $1,075.
Year one.
We could do nothing with them. We had this financial agency that left us high and dry. Our authorizer had come up, said, there's a little bit of money, you don't know that. And so it pulls always folder full of checks, so I think the bank won't allow us to cash them because they're looking at us like, who are you? You don't believe that you're running the charts. And so she went over there with her blind pigtails and she's like, you need to cash the check. Okay. It's like, we just needed you. So, and then, so we were able to start that. But then from there, I know, right? Then our authorizer was like, the other part that is, she said that other charter schools, they don't use grants. You guys are unique. Like most charter schools, they'll operate out of a janitor's building or just a 401 building. We have our own building. And then other charter schools I don't really hear too much about grants. They do their own fundraising. That's how they stay alive. So we are lucky and fortunate in a lot of different ways, whether it be the third party or grants. And I'd like to give her a lot of credit for finding the old grant writer herself.
No,
So
great
that's
grant somewhere, just
so-
putting it out there.
why I'm saying this is that we are unique. Under the air quotes, but we're unique in a lot of things that we found in money. Sustain. And you know, we're sitting pretty okay future wise, and I feel like that I hope we get that final credit. You know, because just like if there's not enough money there, you know, having a bank support is very helpful. So.
So what is the line of credit that you're accounting for?
So what you have in that credit card says 1,000 per day. Yep. Because that's a debit card, the bank will only authorize us to draw up to 1,000 per day. If once the credit card comes in, then we'll change the vendor's policy that. Whatever the credit limit is on that credit card, then next that one. But right now, it's just 1,000 per day because we're out there.
And a lot of times the line of credit, Amy's reaching out to the bank and then another organization for health that offers schools line of credit. It's usually help with operational costs too. If we're saving lower in my account, like June and July, because of the state disbursements and reimbursements or payout. They come in later in August, big chunks, so you have June and July where audit spending is just really low. Then that line of credit will help with those expenses. It's how you get your bigger deposits in August before schools. So that's it, that's another big overall.
So right, I was checking in on her account for season, so I received this checking in today. And she said the plan is to speak with Clinton and there with a money to get the money credit to you. And then if they can get that money as soon as possible, it should keep things moving. Additionally, we scheduled 3 regular state aid and started with approximately 1,000 from school aid and reimbursement payments from the last quarter. So we'll have drawdowns on those reimbursements and we'll get our next month's state aid. Our actual cash flow is pretty low because we're starting with this one.
Any more discussion on credit card policy? Golly. Sheena say golly. All in favor of approving the credit card policy as presented? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Rich. Moving on to 5B, motion to approve the updated procurement policy as presented.
This one. Got anybody who's packing names over these two.
Coleman.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yep, the procurement policy is just, it's a new one, with minimal changes. Karen sent this updated one, and so, there's a few changes on it. You have to go over to the shell. Something still working on the policy, maybe updating our policies for us.
So, by law, we have to have, like anybody that's like, if you get up to, what they say, 10,000, by the year, that it should be fair, that's what it says. Our procurement policy, and our procurement policy, our original one, we had an original one, I think, year 2. And then last year, you created, you the state requirements, authorized the changes to be updated state requirements, we adopted that. We went in March. And then they just sent us the new one, the state legislature, they uploaded the requirements, and so this is the updated. What's up? Mandatory via objects. And optimized by that state.
This is also due to our authorized service on students. Not that word, I can never say. I have to slow down when I work.
So this isn't like specific to Endazhi, this is like what is in the. It's a state required procurement policy that all public schools that, if we are that follow, and it has all of your bidding levels and requirements, it has all of the finance laws and other styles of procurement, and what's the other word that what you have procurement and that? Purchasing, yeah. And so, all public schools in the state are adopting this exact same policy. We took this and we put it on our letterhead, and then, once the board adopts this, we'll find that we can do policy. Will be revised from last year.
So in the very beginning, when we opened, we modeled the pride's procurement process. And it got kicked back a few times for divisions because it didn't align with the school statute and state statute as a school. And so we had to make a lot of revisions. And then every year, like yourself, with a lot of the policies that change. Minor changes. So this is one of the policies that they entered. This was actually.
Any more discussion? Following, you wait. Thank you. So all in favor of approving the updated procurement policy as presented? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Yeah. Yep. Passed. Rich. Item 5B, motion to approve policy 534, school meal policy.
A motion.
Discussion.
on this particular policy, if you turn to page, what happens is our school is, we're not running our own food service, we get our, we contact with the school. So they get our numbers and they get the revenue for their food and then, but then they provide us with the meals. It's free. We belong to the free. So if you look on this one,
Page 2.
on page 2, options 1, 2, and 3, we will omit once you adopt this, because we are down here, we are free and we do lunch and then we do our meals through the school district. So it'll tell you that, you know, if we require payment for our meals, we do option 1, 2, or 3, and we do not require it. We're on the state being reduced lunch. So once you adopt those, we'll take those up. When the Red School District tells me that they lost, well, we can't do their sports or on their own, we took their kids, we did that, and we did take the kids. But we didn't take all of them, we took their state aid per student. If you figure that every student is probably about $10,000 for your state aid. And some of that is transportation plus the aid, and some of it's meal, and then some of it's just state aid, the state formula for the students. So we do get probably about 5 or 6, or maybe about 7,000 per student for state aid. But the district still gets our transportation dollars and we still get our. But they need 5%. So we didn't take all of them. We should. Yeah. We could and we will. Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah. That's another referring policy by them. It's just, we didn't have that policy, but I think we thought of that mandated, or I don't really want it, but it was recommended in that policy.
Any more discussion? God, we did, huh? Golly. So, motion to approve policy 534 school meals policy, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Mean. Motion passed. So we're moving on to 5A, motion to approve. We want to take a break real quick.
Recession.
5 minutes.
I want to say recession.
Chair.
5 minute recess.
Okay, time 6:45.
Yeah.
Go back again.
We start strong.
Yeah. What he says.
Mr. Really?
You don't have a.
Oh. And how's it coming? Your hand come in with somebody? We'll open the doors.
I did read it.
You put them up. Right, to say
For a little bit.
if you need to grab it, so I will.
All right. Happy fall half over.
We are on that.
Okay,
Starting to chug through now.
yeah, we have like these now, David, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about those.
Yeah, basically, all we just gotta do is finish. I don't know. I ended up going into the crawl space and getting one of my closest stuff, but when I did, I must have pulled something in my back. Because now for the last 2 days, I just have like this kink in my back. And it happened like right after work on Thursday, of course. And I'm like, oh, great, I get to spend my weekend in pain.
I did that one time, I was like, please.
Yeah.
I didn't have a belt.
Training for you?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
trying to be all, thought I was like 21 again in the gym. It
Yeah.
was so funny, and then I couldn't, exactly, just like, I got it, and I did everything. I did the line, nothing, and then they called up Arnold. Arnold came over with some medicine, he's like, put on, and then the next morning I was up, like nothing. I was like, man, I should have called it, because I was in pain for like almost a week, that's all.
Oh, yeah.
And then whatever he had right away, just fixed it. I was like, man, I should have called everyone's medical.
I know I accidentally scared my family members because I just randomly scream swear because it just locks up all of a sudden and paid. So I just sit there loud all of a sudden out of nowhere because like it just locks up and I'm like, oh, yeah. My family all jumping and screaming, what? I'm like locked up.
No, I might have to call Chelsea pretty soon. She rides with me and my daughter and grandson are coming. Oh, dear, okay, and you'll still have a car, won't you just look like this? We'll just leave it.
I was gonna say, we're getting to the
nitty gritty here, I think,
the nitty gritty is mostly the reports. That's
Yeah,
really-
That's a long time.
Yeah, the reports is usually what takes the longest, and not the approvals is usually just. All this stuff has pretty much been pre-approved. It's just formality. Yeah. Yep. So now it's just the board starting to say, yep.
those remote like teaching opportunities or learning opportunities, are those like going to be open to the community or for the family?
It's good, it's like we have talking about life.
Are you talking about the e-learning days?
It'll be in
No.
class schedule. Oh, but we can do something outside. Like our. meeting or our family,
Yeah, they're interested in just like as a community member, and then even like I figured dishes or whatever, just like in the background and like hearing the people in that.
Yeah, it's still, that's what we say, you don't gotta hear it in here,
So
so.
college will allow community members to.
Oh. You're not biased. Is he new or?
Well, it's been different couple years. It's been in Brazil over now.
Yeah, I thought they have a whole like. I was there when it was just.
Yeah, I don't know 4 numbers.
Oh, you working over there, huh?
I was.
Yeah. Here at 51.
So calling the session back into, calling the meeting back into session, it's 6:51. So moving on to item 5F, motion to approve the e-learning policy as presented.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
This is another one.
No, not mandated. The Minnesota State, allows schools, up to 5 days of free learning, online learning, for inclement weather. So if you don't have this plan, and the thing about this plan is that if you're going to put it into place, you have to have it presented to the families at the beginning of the school year, and we're getting close. So if it's like bad weather, 20 below, and buses aren't going or whatever, then we can have an e-learning plan. And if any students don't have access at home, there's a choice matrix that they'll get where they just make choices per subject area, like schools do. I don't know if Red Lake District is or not gonna have any money this year or not. But I don't think they did last year, because if they don't. And we do, we still won't have to make up full days, they'll have to make up days up for, at the full, but we will definitely be, so the thing tonight is to, the board to adopt a policy that says you'll be money. And then, the other part of that is that the teachers and will develop the choice boards for students.
So the teachers independently look at the stuff, or do there like training or?
No, it's, just get together. I got sample matrices from Red Hook School District, Imagery School District and Cal State School District, and I've already handed some samples out to a couple of educators to say, take a look at these board choices and see what fits and tweak it to me. I've seen all that. We probably don't have like, well, Red Lake has a different, like, but this one of their first like this, and we'll probably have that too, and then. It'll be request that the areas of math, science, reading, social studies, and for us, it also be a few of language and probably culture. Red Lake has those in their speech. Pretty similar, so kids are, kids are here and then go there or they're there. They're the same kind of thing. And you won't have to be that way, but they have up to 5.
And I think all the weather.
Next week, hold on, last year.
You had to get up.
Yeah, and we canceled our spring break, the kids were so disappointed about that, they're like, oh, yeah, our spring break. Yeah.
Because they follow the school district.
Yes.
The choice words are usually like, they're not confident, you put confident stuff on them, and signs off on them doing the choice board. And it's like, just they do this, but they get like. And there's.
Okay, I was gonna say, cause as a new educator, I do worry about those accommodations, cause I just feel like I get thrown in sometimes and just don't know what I'm doing, so.
So there, if a parent signs off that they did this, and they get paid grade and once they get the.
That's what. I didn't make enough.
But see, that keeps the kid busy at home too. Everything on here. That's true, you only need one poop, one per row here. He's like, okay, mom, come back, class is in session. I'm like, all you gotta do is color outside. Just look outside the window, it says, and you gotta color what you see. Okay, mom, it's ready to grade. Yeah, but it's really easy, so.
Alright.
So any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Or. Motion passed. Moving on to 5D, motion to approve the fund balance policy for and students. Question.
So authorizer, this is authorizer requirement in the 31st that one did. Yeah, because I have it in that, and then also the recommendation, as you talked about before, the recommendation is to start for 20%. And I wanted to show something to you. It's in the financial report. I can show you the financial report. And the other thing we added in here was that we're going to start for 20%, and that we will do an annual report in October. Where I'm making it. Yeah, so it's so I called her, I called our financial.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show that you can see already that we're making gains and
On page 4.
yeah, number 4. And you'll see as of June 30th, if you look at our revenues, and you'll have the percentages of where we were compared to where we were like last year. So I think like right now, June 30th, our totals are 102%, and then last year at the same time, we were at 81%. And expenditure is the same thing right now, we're at 100%, last year, we're at 84.7%. So you'll see too, and then if you saw like on our, the budget that you approved, the fiscal year budget, for the new school year, it'll show you what our fund balance was at the end of last year and the year before, and you'll see that we have increased our fund balance at the end of the year by like, I don't know, like 10-20%, something like that. And so that's our goal is to go up for fund balance. So we'll just continue to really work on increasing our fund balance. I think it's gonna take us a couple of years to get there, because we're a small school and, you know, we're still going and building, but that's the goal.
Last year, I think we did was around 69,000. In the green, very, it's right on, came out above. Head in that direction, but more.
Well, typical fund balance policies and documents presented, and we discussed it in the May. All of you say aye. 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 On the H, Moses being in the process of changing the document housing bylaws, we move the board, we with 5 minutes.
I'm open.
We look at our bylaw, yep, and our bylaws will say that board, that charter school can have a board not less than 5 members and not more than one. So, our representative from our authorizer said, well, no, you've got a 5-member board. You still have some open seats, and as you said, we weren't gonna have any election until it was time for you guys, and then, he said, you know, she says, my interpretation is that if you have an open seat, I think you should let them sit. So years prior, at the very beginning, they had a full lifetime member, and it was impossible to get. The icky was 200 for fun. I think it was last year, at the beginning of last year, maybe in early winter, the board just kind of did a consensus about not filling any more seats in 5, so that you could. So I talked to Joel about it, and I said, Joel, my interpretation just says you can have up to as a seat, but you have to pay for the seats. And he said, yeah, there's nothing in there that says you can't. There's that you have somebody else. He said, but along with your authorizer, he said, if your board would like to stay at 5 for whatever reason, or whatever, then you should go ahead and change the bylaws. You change the bylaws, there's a procedure, you need board consensus, and you also need teacher input. So if the board wanted to, and maybe you've got a board member to listen to, so maybe if you, and this is a motion to just start the process, because there's a process to change. You have your authorizer involved, you have to have the teachers involved, and the board has to be involved, so it's the process. So if this board thinks that they would like to fill some up to 9 seats, you know, you're welcome to do that, or if you're comfortable with having a 5-member board, where it's a little easier to get a quorum, and just looking for a commission to start the process for change. And if you want to open it up, we can also, you can also schedule sitting election for those seats.
Because if it wasn't 9, it would be 5 people.
Minimum.
So if you got to start the meeting. But you can say, you know.
So I think when they negotiate, it's really hard.
I think it, you know, having that many people with our teacher, we was just too many. I mean, yeah, you know, the other through the storm to get to the end of the storm, right? But I'm really comfortable with what we have. I mean, we have to be 50 long. It's important.
what we're gonna put in, putting up together. Mm. Like I said, I mean, I think either. People. Line, and it was just hard to do this. Or
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, you know, because. I mean, just looking at that. The voting. Is not doing it. You said the phone so, and then like about the process, I'm sorry, the process too for a board is, once you have your number seated. And you all sign for your things, that says if you miss 3 meetings, then you're out of that. Or if for whatever reason, these things to be on the board, and at that point, we'll justify member, the board chair can then appoint somebody to fill that seat. So you don't necessarily have to be less than the time. You could do 6, you could do 7. Okay. I want to tell you too, my first something when this particular project there, I'm so impressed. I'm impressed with the education, not only impressed with the experience, not only the work ethic, with all of those things that it's a really good work with these things. The cultural importance, the money and then the student plans and and all the things we can should go to school. And because board members is all volunteer. You know, these are people who are meeting, sharing it out, and their experience.
I think at the beginning, the big board was probably good. All the wide range of thoughts and ideas I needed to further define, but I think I do there of having the activity to find you the path. Under the five.
We really think, you know, the board focused on the kids success. Moving along with the staff and we but think about history a little bit. But we, with the board that we have in mind, it's quite a big, you know, useful.
Perfect. I'm talking my best.
I thought you were gonna
I thought you were gonna start dying. Yeah, it's like.
So, without any further discussion. Ready? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Start the process of changing Endazhi-Nitaawiging housing bylaws to. Motion to approve the third party billing. Request in amount of $4,405,806. That was for
She went over that earlier.
that was the billing. The billing.
I'll make a motion.
All the billing. So it's broken down into the packet, and your packet is what we submit to tribal council. So what I'll go to right now, and Attorney Joe Plummer will look over and which of the funds are available there. It's approved cost. So on the 3rd page or 4th page, it breaks down what the request consists of, that amount. So the goals are always going to be the same. It's always in go back to wellness, health, the holistic approach, language culture, education. So when we put in a request, we break down what it was. And this will help support our 2 grants because it's reimbursement based. The capital project grant, which is going to support building out a basketball court, outdoor funds. The
Oh, renovations, yeah. I'm trying to think, I was just visualizing the grant. The STEM and culture room, $100,000 to finish that project. We had to pull it out the initial construction of the school. So that's kind of in a storage room now, so 100,000 will go for finishing it. And then Chromebooks and charging stations will go into the learning for the students, but also build up community space at the modular. So renovation costs for the modular to expand our, we don't want to call it the school suspension, we're redoing it. Like an alternate community space for our school suspensions. We saw quite a handful at
Where,
the
right?
end. What's it called? What?
The warrior rises.
Is that right? Okay, any comments on that?
That's it.
No, I just came up with that.
That's a good one.
Because it was like, when the school brought out the middle school kids of the physical. That's how they sent us the ISS. And I didn't realize that until after they left. The teacher, actually, she was patient, so she on that. They were very respectful, they were helpful, and they were just. I mean, they did everything for that I was ever seeing, very confident with staff, and they did whatever in my room, like. So I was thinking of like. I'm supposed to thank you about what you doing.
Yeah, I like that. So we're looking for a name. There you go.
As we say, yeah, ISS seemed intimidating.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Suspension, what you're talking about, alternative to suspension, kids can still get suspended, but when kids are up for suspension. The state recommends that you have an alternative program where they stay in school, where they have a future, where they do their education. And then they have to complete successfully that day before they go back into the regular setting. But it does fall on the record as a suspension.
Yeah.
A suspension or out of school suspension follows the discipline. And two kids stays on the record. For 2 weeks. So the state, there's a Department of Education recommends schools the program, and it's up to parents. So we say, your child is online for suspension, for, giving another student or whatever. But we have this alternative, and parents go, yeah, put them in there, because they don't, nobody wants to. Yeah, so we still want them to get their education, so it's an alternative to suspension. We'll call it what, warrior rising, like that.
So building out that space, and then, we have, consultant fees, we want to build a gym. We want to add on and just kind of expanding on our outdoor learning space, for that indoor spaces, so that's built in. And then, so that totals the 388,758. So a lot of those expenses are huge amounts upfront, as they're capital projects, so we need that buffer in our account, for this reimbursement fees. And then, after school programming, we only put in, a monthly fee reimbursement amount. And that breaks down into, instructional cultural supplies, and then staff who coordinate and conduct the after school program. And that'll be for the last month of the stay. And so as we move forward, I was talking in the working session, I should have thought better and did a quarterly, so that as we move forward, they'll have it either. Which also asked the question, well, what happens when we get reimbursed from the funds? It'll just go back to our general operating, and so that's why we put it. We will help budget where that goes after, and that'll hopefully help build that. Then we just fund balance. And so part of the new process is board approval, just for transparency, then it goes over to council so that they know that they always get the packet, they always get the breakdown. But before, for now, and tribal council approve their process, turning it over there requires now the whole packet.
And then we get this money, we're happy.
Oh, yeah, maybe, and then on the end, if it's approved, you will sign that copy, and that goes in with the same packet over to, the attorney. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Passed. So I'm gonna avoid. No sign. Do I need to do this one too?
No, just the back page, the.
Just the form format.
We all approved it.
That you sign this like the way. You're all witnesses.
I need your copy of that. I'll keep a copy of that.
This will take off.
Oh, you borrowed my copy, so. Oh. So moving on to J, motion to set this type of school evaluation date for November regular board meeting.
I'll motion.
This is the evaluation.
So that's one of them, if I, so, yep, so the board, when you first proceeded, you agreed to reinstate some of the assessment from these July, December, so by November, should have completed an evaluation to review. Like that, so I'm just turning in mind for and such, so we keep going to the session regular. This was the original, this is what the original was, looked like, it was kind of the state version of the superintendent, school leadership. What they would evaluate it on, so I printed out with so many of the major goal areas and sub goals underneath those, and then I just gave you a page on the back that shows you kind of what the leader looks like. So like standard one is governance team. And then you'll see if you get a 4, a 3, a 2, or 1. And then there's a scoring sheet that you develop for after the board does her evaluation on these areas, then you just average those out and, for individual, and then you take the individual scores and add them up. And then on this particular model, what should have happened in this house with this was all the members should have done an evaluation. And then an average should have been given, and then it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a termination thing, but you're gonna find probably 2 areas that you want your leader to strengthen. And then you would ask your leader to come up with some goals and what they want to do to strengthen the 2 areas you would want them to strengthen, whether it's communication, maybe it's something. And that's what the evaluation is. It's not really intended to terminate somebody, it's really for improvement and growth and themselves and yeah. And these are the things that you hire the leader to do. These are the areas that when you get your leadership license, your superintendent's license, your principal's license, these are your goal areas. You're kind of like the common core areas, and so this was the state, this is what we recommended to the previous board. This was the model that we used. And so you can either do this model again and have it done correctly and fairly, or the other thing is that the documentation that Silver gave to you cannot authorize about the things that we need to do school improvement. You get all the corrective action or whatever, and maybe you could look at that and if we're meeting our goals later by December or by November, maybe that's it. So just wanted to give you a couple different ideas on what you might want to look at forward. But we should probably set a date for that, yeah, so that she knows what she's working towards and what she should. What do you gotta do, so?
Yeah, what I have to do and where you guys see by leadership being and then, future direction, quality direction, school success and students.
So we choose the standard rate now, or we'll only just set a date and everything?
This is just for the date.
And you can set a date, but you can also in the discussion decide, you know, yeah, we're gonna do the evaluation and secure the communities, because you won't need to do them. You can do it. So I gave you two tools to look at, but you could. Or you could even amend the motion to say, you know, using this evaluation or using the correct.
I'm personally fine with the 1-4 model. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Yeah, but the government model.
I think it's more explanatory to what they're asking,
Yeah,
right? Like,
so
so
specify.
this one's kind of like, you're okay, you can just like, we just can say.
Yeah.
And that one, we're gonna be working on that. But it's not affecting that. And I'm confident, you know, if we really want to evaluate it further. But it's only something.
Yeah, and I really wanted to get like all staff survey out to all teachers. Support staff, because there's a lot of stuff she does with like everybody that maybe I want to.
Oh, I twist a lot,
You know what I mean?
just on the personal base, on the personal level. So
It'd just be cool to get like read testimonies from all the staff and
And I
give them
think-
an opportunity to provide some input.
and I think that has more basis for us to be able to review if the all around, not just only specific, but,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, can be.
And I asked that the last time.
I was gonna say, yeah, staff, after that particular meeting, staff came to me with text messages, just lines of text, just saying how disappointed they were that they weren't heard.
Yeah.
That they weren't even listened to, their opinion wasn't even considered.
Because actually, you know, that define her leadership, you know, how being able to be personally, like, individual to use staff, but everybody here. You know, I mean, just being, my own personal experience, being hearing. All the things go out, in really good things. You know, I mean.
So-
it's on me.
If you, and if we like to, I took a look at, Rosie's recommendation and she was over at Tech. Staff had a, and the director put out a survey for staff about what, so I called her and said, hey, send it, so I do have a copy of that and maybe I can see.
All of you.
So we have to amend that on here, no?
I think if you just want to, I think if you're going to choose a tool right now, the set the date.
The date before.
With this,
Oh, November. Oh, yeah, what did I regular? We could
Yeah.
make it as regular.
Yeah.
And
And
we
then
wanted to make it special. because
So how that works, when you do a reevaluation, how it works is that she gets, her evaluation, she gets notification ahead of time that we're doing her evaluation. And then she has the choice to have it either an open meeting or a closed meeting. And then she'll notify the board if she, you know, it's in a closed unless she says open. So she'll have that choice at that time, and then anybody in the public can come, community can come, hear an evaluation, unless she wants it to stay in closed, but if she wants it open, then she'll let the board know that prior. Otherwise, we'll schedule a closed session in the. For her evaluation. Or you can do a separate evaluation, or I just said on November 9th, so, yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, we can make the 19th for November. Our regular board meeting, which is the third Wednesday, right? Yeah.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
This is
I'm scratch
Yeah.
I'm from the record.
Probably something for you guys too. Okay, we're losing it, let's get it out.
My grandma's birthday's on Thanksgiving this year.
So.
So the. What the heck is it? Oh, I get it. How was it?
That's school evaluation.
So you motion to make an amendment to the high school evaluation date for November 19th, 2025, regular board meeting to utilize a standard one government evaluation for high school. Right? As well as teacher evaluation basis.
And you could just say too, you could just say, and maybe you don't even have to put in the motion, I don't know what you think. But this has already been pre-approved by the board. Pre-evaluation has already been, so using the current board.
So any more further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Pass. Utilize the pre-approved high school evaluations on the November 19th report meeting.
Wrap this up.
The motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:24. 7:24.
Motion.
More discussion? All in favor, say to adjourn. Aye. All right, ladies, back to girl.
I put everybody's packets in your own with the date in case you want it with all of your absence in order in case you want to start keeping your own.
Yep, yeah.
Or if you want to be like me and just start a binder.
I know I have to too. I have to at home now, like.
Well, now that I'm secretary, I need to keep physical copies of all the meetings. And I have a whole tab for meeting minutes, and I've only been here since March, and this is my stack of minutes already.
Sounds really nice. Yeah. I've been doing this with the other ones. I'm like, okay. Did I ask for a couple? Oh, I got.
Yes,
Yeah.
a month before that.
We should have an email, evaluation for everyone to fill out. Cause, cause they're anonymous, as well as our anonymous, and
Yeah, and she will just, they won't be anonymous to the board chair, but when she scores them, she'll just say board number 1, board number 2.
to us.
So this is,
On the comment section,
Right,
right?
this is last year's board meeting.
Yeah,
None of everything like from that.
I know, and I already have a nice stack just from March. I'll hear it.